George, I also want to ask you a little bit about DCAing, because I know dollar cost averaging is something that you talk about quite a bit. For anyone who's newer to cryptocurrency, what does DCA stand for? What does it mean? And what role does that play in people that are for people that are newer to the cryptocurrency space?
Yeah, DCA, dollar cost averaging. Basically, bring your cost average of whatever you have down. Sometimes it goes up, and that's because if you're following a schedule, sometimes you're buying on the way up, but sometimes you're buying on the way down. And overall, you're cost averaging your buys. And it works out great. It works out great. There's so many that took advantage of this strategy when Bitcoin fell down. Going back all the way to 2017, people that followed this strategy bought on the way down to 2018, 2019, 2020. You know what? It worked out pretty well.
Yep.
At that time, it may have sounded stupid. Like, why would you be buying on the way down? You're trying to catch a falling knife. But we know Bitcoin is not going to fall to zero. We know it's going to find the floor and continue higher. And that's exactly what it did. And people that took advantage at 3,000, 6,000, 10,000, and we had multiple times that happened. You know, Bitcoin in 2019 fell from 14 down to 3,800. Last year it fell down to 3,800, and people could have took advantage of that. And people that did, what they ended up doing was bringing their cost average down so that when Bitcoin recovered, now their portfolio's in the green. So DCA is very important, and you could do this one or two ways. A lot of people just follow a schedule, and you see this on the apps too, like exchanges. They'll say, hey, do you want to set a schedule, buy a certain amount every single week or 2 weeks or a month?
30th, yeah.
Yeah, that works. There's calculators that show, had you done it, let's just say $100 every week over a course of 3 or 4 years, you're up several $1,000%, depending on which crypto that you bought into. I mean, some of them are like tens of thousands of percent. So it really works. Or some people dollar cost average just on dips. If there's a major dip, 10, 20, 15, 20, 50% dip, you buy in a little more and you bring your average down. And then when things recover, now you're in the green. So it's really that simple. And I think it's very, very important for everyone to follow DCA.
Even to just kind of bring everything together, what would your strategy for a person who's new to the cryptocurrency space be? Because it can be very daunting to get into crypto and say, oh, well, I got DeFi. I got all these decentralized applications. I have DEXs that I have to think about, and centralized versus decentralized, and Bitcoin versus Ethereum. And what would your strategy be to make it simple for somebody who's been in crypto for 7 days and they have no idea where to start? How would you guide somebody? Like, let's say your mom wanted to get into crypto, or let's say you have a friend who wants to get into crypto, doesn't know anything about it. How would you lead them towards getting those kind of gains that people are looking for here in crypto in a responsible way?
Responsible way is key. A lot of people also coming in is buying crypto on credit cards, with their credit cards, and that's not the way to do it.
Nope.
First of all, never invest more than what you can afford to lose, which means you're investing just with side money that is not going to affect your day-to-day life. You don't need that money to pay your bills, to pay your car, pay your mortgage, pay your rent, stuff like that. So first of all, people coming in should just use extra money they have. I would still advise people to get in and start with Bitcoin, and maybe not say you had $5,000 you want to get in. I would say spread out the buys, DCA into Bitcoin. So it's really up to you if you want to spread out 4 ways, 5 ways, and or do a little bit every single month, let's say, and buy into Bitcoin first. And then after that, start researching these altcoins. And I would suggest looking at what's called L1s, or network protocols. And these are, the easiest way to think about them is operating systems for the future decentralized apps. So these are the ones like Ethereum and Cardano and Solana and VeChain and Avalanche and Terra, and there's so many. These are just the ones that are big caps, but outside of big caps, there's so many others that are serving the same purpose. So I would suggest newcomers to look at these network protocols, because all the dApps that is being used right now, they're all built on top of these L1s. And that's important. They're the foundation. So they're like Microsoft Windows and Apple iOS. All the dApps that people use, they're riding on top of these operating systems, and that's what these L1s are. And I would advise people to start researching them and get into them.
Yeah, I think that's great. One of the things that I say is exactly what you just said. The fundamentals, the foundation of the entire the entire future cryptocurrency economy are these L1 network protocols, like you're talking about. I look at like the interstate highway system in the United States of America. All the hotels, all the McDonald's, all the Starbuckses, they all pop up around the interstate because everybody uses the interstate and brings the United States together. The United States would not have a $20 trillion gross domestic product if it weren't for the interstate highway system. It'd probably literally be half that because it'd take you 3 weeks to get across the country. That interstate highway system costs money to build, but the amount of value it brings because of the things built on top of it is so incredibly valuable that if you could invest in the interstate highway system in 1970, well, you can't, but if you could buy like partial ownership of the interstate highway system, you would make so much money because of how valuable it is. And that's essentially what you get to do right now by buying things like Ethereum, Cardano, Avalanche, and all the ones you just listed, is that you're basically just buying a share in the foundation of the future cryptocurrency economy. So I think that's fantastic. Why do you think people get into the cryptocurrency space? Because when I got into the cryptocurrency space, I didn't realize it at the time, but I got into crypto out of a deep hurt. I got into crypto because things weren't going the way that I wanted to. I got into crypto because I wanted to take care of my family. You know, it wasn't, sure, I wanted to make money in crypto, but the deeper message there was that I wanted to make money in crypto for a reason. So why do you think people really get into crypto? Obviously, everybody wants to make money in crypto, but do you see a deeper reason, maybe on an emotional level, why people get into crypto? And do you have anything to say to those people?
I think emotion, for me, I think it's financial freedom. I think that's why people get in. And the purpose of it is, yes, to make money, but it's really for financial freedom because people are sick of their 9-to-5 jobs. They want something better. They want to invest in something that they believe is the future. And I think that's number one. Now, you mentioned emotion. I think that's important too, because some people are fed up with, let's say, what the governments are doing, especially right now. You know, in the last 2 years, you could argue, yes, a pandemic, caused a lot of hardship, but the government, the U.S. government, has printed
trillions.
How many trillions?
Like 10. I forgot how many.
The money supply in the U.S. went up 40%, I think, or even more now. Mm-hmm. In the last 2 years alone. Mm-hmm. Think about every USD that was ever printed. 40% of that came within the last year or two. Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of people are also realizing that. Maybe not the young people, but the older generation that have saved up so much in their bank account or 401k, but then they're seeing that dilute to nothing, mm-hmm. and they're really pissed off about it. And I think that is also playing a big part why they're looking into Bitcoins, especially, maybe not so much of the altcoins, but they're looking at Bitcoin because they want something to preserve their wealth, to protect their buying power. So I think that has a lot to do with it too. But I think a lot of the younger people, maybe in their 20s and 30s, they're just really fed up. And I think they just want to make more money, achieve financial freedom. Then they could do whatever they want, spend more time with their family, go travel more, life experiences, all that. So I think it's a combination of both.
Yeah, I think you nailed it with the word financial freedom, and I use that quite a bit. I think it breaks down into two categories. Number one, people are fed up with not having money to put food on the table, so they want financial freedom from that yoke of poverty. But two, they also want financial freedom from the financial systems that are not having our best interest at heart. That's what we saw come out of El Salvador. We in America saw, we had 40% inflation, well, it's not realized yet, but 40% of the money supply was just printed, but at least we got some stimulus, but at least we got some extra paychecks. Like, at least we got something for all that money printing. Down in El Salvador, their national currency is the United States dollar. Now Bitcoin's alongside that, but it was the US dollar. They just saw all of their currency inflate, and it's going to continue inflating, and it's only going to speed up over the next several years. For what? they didn't get the benefits of stimulus, and a lot of people would argue that there weren't any benefits anyway. So I think people absolutely want financial freedom. I think that's exactly why people are here. They want freedom so they can put food on the table, but two, they also want freedom from governments and systems that don't have their best interest at heart. And yes, obviously, it's nice to go and, get some fancy car, get some fancy house. I think that is fantastic. You go make your millions and you have your fun. Go for it. But I think the vast majority of people here in crypto are here for exactly those two words, financial freedom.